the issue of Adem Somyurek. Victorian Labor, a lot of damage control today after that explosive investigation by The Age and 60 Minutes carried the allegations of branch stacking by Minister Somyurek, or former minister now, and others. In footage screened last night, Somyurek was caught on film handing over thousands of dollars in cash and directing parliamentary employees to create fake branch members in order that he amassed numbers and therefore political influence within the Australian Labor Party. Somyurek was also recorded making pretty derogatory comments against the gay community and misogynistic comments against the Minister for Women, his colleague, Gabrielle Williams.
Gabrielle, I hate her guts. Fourth out of the mystery, that stupid Andrews goes. She's a stupid mole.
Victorian Premier Daniel Andrews sacked Somyurek from his ministry this morning, and as Labor figures across the country turned their back on him, Somyurek resigned his membership from the ALP this afternoon. Nonetheless, as I said, he remains a member of the Parliament, and two others resigning are still in the Parliament. Joining me now, the Victorian Opposition Leader Michael O'Brien from Melbourne. Thank you for your time, Michael O'Brien. Were you surprised by the allegations that aired last night against these Labor insiders? What do you think it says about the Victorian Labor Party?
Well, good evening, Peter. Look, I think that for a lot of Victorians and even Australians, what the program did last night is it peeled back the curtain and people got to see the real character of this Victorian Labor government under Daniel Andrews. People will rightly criticise and condemn Adem Somyurek. They'll rightly criticise and condemn Robin Scott, the Assistant Treasurer, who's just resigned in the last hour, so two ministers gone today. And they'll rightly condemn Marlene Carews, who should be resigning. But ultimately, Daniel Andrews has been the leader of this Labor Party for 10 years. He sets the standard. He determines the culture. He's the one who says anything goes. So he can't look shocked or surprised when people take him at his word and they engage in appalling conduct, not just bad conduct within a political party, but abusing taxpayer resources, abusing the public trust that they have as ministers of the Crown. And that's what it comes down to, Peter. This is a government that has been in power for too long. They believe that what is Victoria's is theirs. And frankly, they have no moral compass, and we are sadly seeing what happens when that plays out.
These aren't the case of Robin Scott and Adem Somyurek. These aren't rogue backbenchers. These are two men who have in the past, certainly Somyurek, been removed from the ministry for pretty terrible behaviour towards his chief of staff. He was appointed to the front bench in the first place, coming out of a suspended jail sentence once he was in the Parliament as well. I mean, he's a repeat offender. The other guy has had, Scott, more and more promotions as he's gone along. As I said, these are not rogue backbenchers. They are people who have been rewarded by the Premier. The Premier then says now there'll be a full investigation. Do you believe it will be thorough enough to protect the integrity of the electoral system in Victoria?
Peter, I've got serious doubts, and the reason I say that is because this is not the first time the Labor Party has been caught with their hands in the biscuit jar. They did it with the red shirt rorts. The Ombudsman called them out. Now, remember, the Labor Party spent $1 million of taxpayers' money trying to stop the Ombudsman from doing her investigation. Went to the High Court. Eventually, the Ombudsman won. She did her investigation, found that Labor had rorted parliamentary entitlements to try and win the 2014 election, which they did. So these guys have got form. This is how they do business. They take from the taxpayer, they break rules, they break laws, and they just say, well, as long as we win, that's all that matters. Because there weren't any criminal charges over red shirts, I have to say I am concerned. If that happens again, Victorians can have no confidence, frankly, in our justice system here. So we'll be doing what we can to make sure that this government is held accountable. You can't go around ripping off taxpayers. You can't go around giving six-figure salaries to factional hacks to do branch stacking when they should be getting Victorians back to work in a state that's in recession.
I've got to ask a question. If I look at the portfolios, both of Robin Scott and Adem Somyurek, one of them stands out for me, the time that Robin Scott, for about 3 or 4 years, was the Minister for Multicultural Affairs. Now, given the claimed branch stack numbers are something like 4,000 and range across some of Victoria's largest multicultural communities, how concerned would you be that there may be the use of taxpayer money somehow involved in perhaps supporting particular ethnic groupings in order to then deliver numbers to the ALP?
Well, Peter, I think that is a really live concern. I mean, Victoria has always prided itself on being a fair place, a tolerant place and a multicultural place. But our multicultural communities should not be used as political pawns by the Labor Party. I mean, just recently we saw physical fights at Labor branch meetings between Indians and Turkish Muslim groups. And one of the people involved in that has now been charged within the Labor Party itself, and he was quite close to Daniel Andrews. So what we have seen is the Labor Party use multicultural groups in Victoria, pit them against each other to recruit for their own factions. But what concerns me, not only is that inappropriate, but using taxpayer money to curry favour like that is completely out of bounds. So I want to see any investigation extended to include any abuse of taxpayer money, including to try and buy votes from multicultural groups.
Look, just before we go, it occurred to me one of the allegations against Somyurek is that he threatened the pre-selection of federal MPs. Now, that's pretty close to a criminal offence. Should this matter be referred to the Australian Federal Police as well?
Well, Peter, I think when it comes to shining a light on the corrupt culture of the Victorian Labor Party, there can't be enough torches. There really can't be. I would like to think that any investigative agency with integrity, and I'd very much welcome some from outside Victoria, just to provide a bit of a contrast, if you like. I think that if there have been threats made to federal MPs that does engage federal law, then yes, the AFP should investigate, because history tells us you can't always rely on some of the Victorian investigations to lead to a just outcome. We've seen 2 ministers go. Daniel Andrews wants to say, that's it, nothing to see here, move along. What it does is it simply showed the heart of the corrupt culture of this Victorian Labor government. And frankly, if Victorians want to clean up Victorian politics, the only way to do it is to clean out the Andrews government.